beautiful beings of the light. Welcome to day 6 of our self-love in relationship challenge, our 10-day challenge. And I'm so excited to be here with you. Please let me know how you're doing. We are on day 6. And I believe so far it has been a pretty powerful experience. I know for me and from all the beautiful sharings that have come in, that we are really embodying our self-love. It is so exciting. And just to back up, we are in a self-love revolution. Let's see, 3 weeks ago, we started the 10-day self-love challenge, which was just focused on basically our own relationship with ourselves and how we are showing up for ourselves, how we are embodying self-love. And then last week on Monday, we started our self-love in relationship challenge. And this is going to go on through the end of this week. So when we're finished with these two challenges, we will have done, 20 days of self-love. And so it's really amazing. And I have some of my beautiful sisters coming in. Lisa is here. Oh my goodness, what a great share. Lisa says, good morning. God help me. It's snowing again today in Calgary. Oh my goodness, you are really living in the north. God bless you, sister. I'm from the north originally as well. I'm from upstate New York, so I can really empathize. I do think cold weather can really develop a lot of different beautiful gifts in us to live through that. So sending love, sending warmth to you. And my amazing, beautiful sister Debbie is here in a different climate from sunny, let's see, I think it's New Smyrna Beach. Is that right? On the east coast of Florida, sort of towards the north, I think. So glad to see, in quotes, my amazing, beautiful sisters of the light. So you all, I am so excited for today's practice. Oh my goodness. I really can't wait to get to it. The practice today is about fearless, radical commitment to healthy communication. Game changer. Complete game changer in a relationship. Excuse me. My background, my PhD, specifically is in marriage and family therapy, although I studied all sorts of modalities and did lots of individual therapy as well. But I did learn a lot about relationship and communication. So this topic is so near and dear to my heart. I have so much to share with you today. In fact, this topic is so juicy that we might also do it tomorrow. There's so much to talk about. So I think today's episode is going to be especially powerful, hopefully especially helpful to all who are tuning in. So again, so excited to be with you all. We are on our self-love revolution, and today is day 6 of our self-love in relationship. And something that was really powerful and interesting was last week, I can't remember which day, maybe on day 3 or 4, a lot of us gave ourselves a number from 1 to 10 about our self-love just towards ourselves, and then our self-love in relationship. And it was really interesting because for those of us who shared, I think everyone, their self-love number was lower in relationship. So for me, I think I gave myself an 8.5 on my own. And then in relationship, I gave myself a 5.5. So super interesting that it is, it's an expansion to hold our self-love when we are in intimate relationship. And this is so much what this challenge is about, how to hold and deepen our self-love in relationship. And so what I want to say here is it's an awesome opportunity to deepen our self-love by being in relationship. If we were not in intimate relationship, we would not have the opportunity to see the gaps in our self-love and to really strengthen our self-love. So it's a wonderful, expansive opportunity to be in intimate relationship in so many aspects, to deepen our self-love as well as to deepen so many other aspects of ourselves. And I'll just say that I believe that relationship is perhaps one of the most powerful vessels for our ascension, and so easily shows us our shadow. So although it can seem to the human like it's very, very challenging, in the end, it's so helpful. It's so expansive. There are so many sacred gifts from being in intimate partnership. My amazing sister Jamie is here. My amazing sister Debbie Sliker is here. Oh my goodness. And I see another amazing person. Okay, Suni in Arizona. So grateful. Thank you so much for tuning in. In the beginning, I said today's practice is one of my favorites, and I really can't wait to get to it. So I'm so glad that you all are here, because I think today's episode is going to be particularly powerful and helpful. It's about fearless, radical commitment to healthy communication. And so just to quickly review, especially for those of you who may not have been here for the first 5 days of this self-love in relationship challenge, on day 1, our practice was fearless, radical commitment to my own happiness. And our affirmation for this is I embody fearless, radical commitment to my own happiness. If you feel like saying that with me, it's so powerful. I know every time I say it, I get goosebumps. I get all tingly and excited. I think my soul is saying, yes, sister, yes, this is the truth. This is the path. You are aligned. I embody fearless, radical commitment to my own happiness. Day 2, the practice was you and only you are responsible for your life and happiness. And the affirmation is I and only I am responsible for my life and happiness. Powerful, right? You are the creator of your life. You are in control of your life in this aspect. I and only I am responsible for my life and happiness. Day 3, the practice was fearless, radical commitment to your human's needs. The affirmation is I am fearlessly, radically committed to my human's needs. Boom. And we talked a lot about how, for those of us on this spiritual path, awakening, ascension, I know, at least for me, I can get kind of lost in the spiritual perspective, meaning I'm not totally tuning in to my human and what my human actually needs. I might just think, oh, it's all for the highest and best. No matter what catalyst is coming into me, it's fine. It's bringing up my shadow. That's all true. But there's a balance here. There's a balance of knowing the highest perspective and honoring our humans' needs and desires and dreams. So we're not We are having a human experience. We have come down here in human bodies. We are in human bodies. We are spirit having a human experience. So honoring all of that. Debbie says, really stepping into these. Wonderful. Woohoo! Wonderful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we are coming together, sisters and brothers. We are coming together in solidarity. We are coming back to the truth. We are remembering the truth. I think these practices, at least for me, feel so good because I'm remembering. I'm remembering this is the truth. I am shedding all of the programming around embodiment in relationship. And I am coming back to the truth of these practices for my own self-love in relationship. And then day 4, the practice was the relationship is in each moment. And the affirmation here was, I honor that the relationship is in each moment. And what we meant by this is, I know for me, I can have this when mentality, my human. Okay, the relationship will be better when. Our communication will be better when something happens. We are living in the present. That is the continual invitation to us from Spirit. Your life is now. Your relationship is now. If there's something really not working in your relationship, let's take care of it now, including our communication. And then on Friday, day 5, our practice was love is a verb. It's also a noun, but we were really focusing on love is a verb. What is happening in your relationship? How is your partner actually interacting with you beyond what they might say? Actions can speak louder than words. So really paying attention to what is the actual behavior of your partner towards you, taking off any rose-colored glasses. For many of us, we are so hardwired to be very loving, to be very empathetic, to be very focused on giving love, patience, grace, etc. And those are all beautiful. But again, there is a balance. And the balance is, what am I actually receiving in the relationship? Okay. So if anyone wants to just chime in on those first 5 practices that we have been embodying, I'd love to know, for instance, if there's any particular practice that has been especially resonant for you. Maybe it just really connects with you. I would love to know any of your favorite practices of the first 5 that we have done. For me, I think I've been sharing that my favorite, I'm gonna look at the list again. I think my number 1 favorite practice is I embody fearless, radical commitment to my own happiness. I love that so much. I've said this before. I was raised in Cinderella land, like many of us in my generation, with this idea that the happiness was on the external, that Prince Charming on a beautiful white steed was going to come into my life at some point and just make everything better. That my happiness was reliant on someone else. What a relief. How empowering to know, no, beautiful sister, beautiful brother, you are responsible and you can focus on your own happiness. And over the long run, if things are not serving your happiness in your intimate relationship or in any aspect of your life, we let it go. It is not for you. For you is happiness. You came here to live a beautiful life of joy, as well as go through lots of adventures. Okay. So yeah, if anyone wants to chime in and share which practices may be especially helpful for you, I would love to hear. And again, I'm so grateful to all of my sisters who I'm seeing here. It is It's such a blessing to walk this path in solidarity with all of you amazing, strong, self-loving women. We so got this, and we talk so much about our self-love revolution. As we really embody self-love in our beings, we radiate this energy out into on the earth as well as the multiverse. I shared a channeling a few days ago about self-love, and that was part of what came through from spirit, that our self-love revolution is not just about the planet earth. It is having far-reaching amazing benefits throughout the multiverse. And from spirit, I always get this image of beings on the other side, literally on the edge of their seats. That's the phrase I get in all the time. Beings across the multiverse are literally on the edge of their seats, watching what is happening here on Earth. And for all of us who are together here, I believe we are all self-love ambassadors. I believe we contracted about this on the other side before we came into these bodies. So I believe we are a self-love tribe coming together to literally transform the planet and the multiverse. It's big. It's really big. Debbie, thank you so much for your comment. Debbie says, I think that's my favorite too. I realized that if I'm unhappy, I am the one who needs to make the changes to make sure that I'm living a joy-filled life. Boom, drop the mic. Yes. It's empowering, and at time in the beginning, at least for me, it was a little scary. Oh, I am the one who's responsible. Okay. All right. It took me a little time to really feel comfortable with that, because I had just always thought someone else was going to come in. But in the end, I find it completely freeing. If I'm not happy, I can shift things. My own happiness, my own inner joy, peace is my compass, is my North Star, is what I am focused on above all else. And as we all embody that practice, how transformational is this for our planet and the multiverse? Thank you so much for sharing that, Debbie. I really appreciate it. It's great to hear what is really pinging, resonating for you all. Okay, so let's get into today's practice. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I could talk about this practice for weeks. Hi, Mom. Thank you. My mom says, you go, girl. Thank you. Thank you. My mom is one of the strongest women that I know. I come from an amazing matrilineal line of very strong women. I know so many of us do. So just a shout out to my mom and her strength and how she has just always showed up, persevering. Okay. So, okay, day 6 practice is fearless, radical commitment to healthy communication. Boom. Debbie just talked about, I am the one who is responsible to make changes in my life to make sure I am happy. So let's just take a moment here. And I'm just going to invite you, if it feels resonant, to think about what were some of the most painful, injurious moments in your life in relationship. I know for me, most of the most injurious, painful moments in relationship have been in unhealthy conversations, in hurtful conversations, in painful conversations. We might call them arguments. When things have just really devolved, people are saying things that really pierce the heart. this does tremendous damage to relationships. So again, my background, my PhD is in marriage and family therapy. All of the research shows that how we communicate through tricky topics really is an indicator of the longevity of the relationship. We cannot overemphasize how important and foundational healthy communication is. Not even to mention the effects that each of us have after we've been engaging in an unhealthy communication, the effects this has on our own beings and the healing that is often required after a very unhealthy communication. So golly, this can really change the world, how we communicate with each other through peace and through love. So I'm going to talk a lot about a course that my partner Sean and I created around healthy communication. It is called the Namaste Method. And if you're interested in checking it out, I put a link to it in the top of the chat. And this course we created through blood, sweat, and tears. We had, I'll call, so many catastrophic conversations. In fact, one of our conversations led, in part, not completely, but in part, led to a 3-month separation where we were not communicating with each other. So I'm so passionate about this topic. I know how hard it can be to communicate, how painful it can be to not communicate well. And my heart just goes out to all of us in these situations. So I'm so passionate about this topic. Okay, so let's get into the Namaste method. I'm going to go through about let's see, about 16 points here. So again, we may continue this tomorrow because there's just so much juicy content here that I think is so helpful. Okay, so the first point here about healthy communication is that the invitation when we are in intimate partnership, or really, it doesn't have to be intimate partnership. All of these apply to any relationship you're having, any communication you're having. We are really being invited to embody our highest consciousness, our God self. That means being in a place of non-reactivity. So we talk about this a lot. If something comes up between you and the person you're in relationship with, it could be you and your child. It could be you and your intimate partner. It could be you and your parent. It could be you and your coworker. If something comes up and you're triggered and you're having pain, it's very emotional. You may be reactive. The suggestion, the invitation here is to take a time out, to first feel your feelings, honor whatever is arising, be there for yourself, be your inner partner. And when you have come back to a place of more calmness and peace, if it still feels really important to communicate about the situation, do so at that point. So a lot of what we're talking about here in healthy communication is communicating when we are not reactive, when we're not, as Eckhart Tolle would say, in our pain body. When we are in our pain body, it is a lot harder, it's more challenging for us to not deliver pain to the other. So this is really a protective mechanism towards the relationship, to have the emotional intelligence, the emotional mastery to step back when we might be emotionally reactive. I've been trying to do this with my partner and my children and everyone. And it's such a helpful practice. It can really dissolve the unhealthy communications. So, this is such a healthy practice. Let me know how this lands for you. If you are practicing this, how this is working for you, the benefits of it. I would love to know. Okay. Uh, and along with that, what I want to say here, as you're doing your inner work, as you're feeling your feelings, you can also engage in self-reflection. What is this bringing up for me? Often your higher self will show you other situations in the past that mirror this current painful situation. And these are situations where you were not able to fully feel, process, integrate your feelings. So these catalysts that come in our relationships are mirroring the energy that we are holding, energy that has not been honored and felt, and is just hanging around in our energy field. So we're calling in these situations basically in order to heal them. So it really is a gift, although in the moment it doesn't feel like that to the human. So as you're feeling your feelings, pay attention to what your higher self may be showing you. Just this morning, I felt a trigger with my partner, and I surrendered to the trigger, and I immediately saw memories of past interactions with other people where where I had the same feeling. And so I took that time to just see those memories and feel all those feelings. And it's likely that I may not in the future have that exact same catalyst with my partner because I may have cleared it from doing that inner work. Okay, beautiful. The next point here is about adopting an orientation of humbleness and curiosity when we are engaging in communication with our partners. So typically, uh, it's sort of easy for the precious human to really want to talk about themselves and my pain and what I need and me. Okay, it's okay. That's the ego's job. The ego's job is to look out for the human. We bless the ego. We love it. Beautiful. Thank you. But the higher perspective in your highest consciousness, it's a balance. We want to express what's going on for us. And then in balance, we also want to be really curious and humble about what may be going on for our partner. I know for me, with my partner, when he is very humble and curious and asks me questions about what I'm feeling, what I've experienced, maybe how this links into past challenges, traumas for me, I feel so loved. I feel so shown up for. It is, I would say, a magical process to share curiosity and humbleness with each other in communication. So I just love these words and this energy, humbleness, curiosity. Really taking a not knowing stance. I only know my own experience. I only know my own truth. I cannot really know the others. So I want to ask. I want to ask about the other's experience. This is really part of the investment that we make in our relationships. Part of the investment is the curiosity, is the asking, is the intention to really get to know our partners. It's so beautiful to make that investment. And of course, any investment we make always reaps rewards. So really as you invest in your beautiful relationship, you will experience the rewards. Okay. The next point here in the Namaste method is, oh, this is such a good one. Stick to the facts. Stick to the facts. My partner and I have noticed that when we get triggered, it is really, really easy to go off into our own stories, our own traumas of the past, our own assumptions about what is happening. It's so easy. That's the catalyst. The catalyst is coming in part to dredge up all that stuff, all that shadow stuff. So that's why, if that is all coming up for you, it is so helpful to step back and feel all that first, instead of just dumping that all onto the table of your relationship immediately. So the practice here is, I'm going to stick to the facts of what is actually happening. What did my partner actually say? How is he or she actually behaving, without adding on any of my assumptions, stories, etc. So I'll just give a quick example here. I think I've shared this before, but a few months ago, my partner and I, we had a plan that he was going to call me at night after his kids had gone to bed. And it became very late and he hadn't called. And honestly, my human went into all of these assumptions, all of these stories, basically about people letting me down and people not caring about me and not being shown up for. And my partner ended up texting me that basically, I think he had fallen asleep, basically, is what had happened. He had been waiting for his oldest child to go to bed so that he would have more time to talk to me. And then I think he said he fell asleep, something like that. But even him texting me all of that, I still just went full force into all of my stories. And I was not sticking to the facts of what had actually happened. I was deep into my own trauma, my own baggage, my own stories. And instead of just really stepping back and feeling and moving through all of that, I ended up being very reactive to him and texting a bunch of things, how I felt he wasn't showing up for me and stuff like that. And it ended up being very injurious to him and our relationship. And I believe that was the experience that really shone the light for me on how essential it is to stick to the facts. So huge, huge point here. Stick to the facts. Try to very mindfully discern what is actually happening with my partner. And to be honest, we don't fully know until we even ask them what is really happening. What do I see? What are the facts? Can I be curious and ask my partner what was happening? And then what is my stuff that I can just deal with on my own shadow around all of this? Okay, so far we have that the invitation in our communication is to really be in our highest consciousness, in our God self, where we are calm and grounded, meaning we will do the inner work and the self-reflection first when we feel hurt, and then we will come in when we are more calm and grounded. And we've also been talking about humbleness and curiosity as beautiful investments in your relationship. And then this last point here was about sticking to the facts and making a discernment. What is actually my stuff that is coming up and what is actually happening? Okay, so I'm just going to take a breather with that. And okay, so one of my dear sisters, I'm so glad you're here, has a great question. What do we do when we are humble and the response is critical and accusatory, and the person retells old stories. Okay, so this is a great question. I know a lot of us experience this in relationship. I'm so glad you asked it, and I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability. So, the first thing that I think is really helpful is to take a step back and to feel all of your feelings around having received this experience from this person. Uh, how does it feel to be treated in this way? What comes up for you? Do you see, perhaps from your higher self, memories of being treated like this in the past, and not most likely having fully felt those feelings? So first of all, your inner work. How does it feel for you? What do I see? And just moving all of that through you. Then, when you are in a calm, non-reactive state, I would ask if I could talk to this person about what happened. And I would ask them to only engage in active listening with me, meaning I will speak, the other person just listens and then repeats back, and then we switch. So, what you're asking for is to really be heard, is to really, really, really be heard, and the effort to be understood. Some further steps with active listening that are so healing is validation and empathy. Those are further steps that you can ask for as well, beyond just the active listening. Okay, so let's say the person agrees to this, and it's also nice to just ask them what would be a good time for this, to be very respectful of what might be going on for them. What is a good time for them to do this? And another thing, when you actually sit down, this is part of what I call the sacred circle, is ask spirit to be with you during this conversation. Ask spirit and both of your higher selves to be with you in this conversation. So you're just, you're getting as much help from the other side as possible. This is really, really powerful. Okay, so now you're in this conversation, hopefully, and hopefully the person is able to practice active listening. And you may have to keep reminding them, because we are not usually taught how to active listen, and for some people it's a completely new skill. And their default is to defend. Their default is to possibly criticize. Their default is possibly to withdraw. So having patience, that for many of us, this is a new skill set. We are not taught this. So then what might happen is, when the other person really hears what you're saying, and by them actively listening and especially repeating back, the content goes a lot deeper within them. I have found that with my partner, when he repeats what I say, in some ways it feels like it's almost the first time he's really getting it. Yeah, so Gretchen, you ask, what if the person doesn't have active listening skills? Okay, so if the person doesn't have active listening skills, but they are amenable to participating in it, then I would just see that you are providing a service for them. You are right now helping them. You are teaching them something. Likely they also teach you things. So I would just look at it as, okay, I'm gonna try to share what I know about active listening, and I'm going to be patient about it. And really, right now I'm in a service mode. So if someone agrees to it, beautiful. And if they don't know how to do it and they keep sort of fumbling, that's okay. That is okay. So we're all here to provide service to each other. So this is a service that you can do. So as I was saying, when your partner or whomever you're doing this with actually repeats back what you have said, often this can be what's it called? A light bulb moment. Often this may be the first time they really get it, when they actually repeat back what your experience has been. I've experienced this a lot with my partner. It seems like often it is a light bulb moment when he repeats back what my experience has been. It is so powerful. And then if you're able to hold this container of active listening, and you each have done it, then just give it a little space, give it a little time. Ideally, what may happen, and because you've called in your partner's higher self, ideally what may happen is your partner may be able to just process what you have said, and really think about it, and really think about their behavior and the effect it has on you. And it may be a turning point moment for your partner. You may have really helped your partner see the truth of what happens with this particular behavior. So give it a bit of time. And if it feels resonant, you can then have a follow-up conversation. Feel out what feels right. Maybe it's a week later. And again, you ask your partner, hey, could we come together and talk again? And then have another active listening session. And you can ask your partner, we talked about some of the things last week. How did that all land for you? Where are you now with all of that? And just see what evolves. We don't know. We don't know what might unravel for our partner. We don't know. All we can do is show up in the best way, healthiest way that we can, and just see what unfolds. And if you do see some commitment, if you do see some focus of your partner on working to heal what is going on, then I think that's a beautiful sign. If you don't see that, if you don't see a commitment, if you don't see some focus and energy on healing what is not working, if you don't see that over the long term, then you may consider what to do in the relationship. It may be time to release the relationship, and only you will know that. And you'll feel that. You'll feel that. So all we can do is show up in the best way we can, give our partner opportunity to show up for us and the relationship, and then see what unfolds, and then just see how you want to proceed, keeping in mind our first practice, which is, just going to pull it up here. I embody fearless, radical commitment to my own happiness. And then the second practice, I and only I am responsible for my life and happiness. So over the long term, if it's not working, then let it go. You can focus on your own happiness. And we have a lot of great comments here. My mom says, it tells you how committed they are to the relationship. Yes. Relationships really thrive when we invest. Relationships really thrive when we invest. We do not need our partners to be perfect. We do not need them to never disappoint us. That's going to happen. But if our partner does have an orientation of commitment and giving focus and energy to the relationship, then that's a beautiful sign. And Debbie says, sometimes the things that you said aren't heard the way you said it. Yes. They get changed through the other person's filters of defensiveness or anger. Yes. What can you suggest for that situation? I'm so glad you brought this up, Debbie. This has been a big experience that my partner and I have had. So I so get it. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, it's really hard to have these healthy conversations if one of us is in a reactive mode. So you talked about that the person might be defensive or angry. So we can try to sort of stack the deck. We can try to ensure that we're going to have the best shot at healthy communication if we both have already stepped back from the situation and done our own inner work and have gotten to a place of peace and calm. And both of you have to be there. Both of you have to be there. Gretchen says, especially if these conversations happen via text. Yes. Oh, I can say so much about that. Oh my gosh. My partner and I have had disastrous conversations on text. I would say the most disastrous have been on text because there's less personal connection. It's easier to, in some way, depersonalize the other person and just keep texting your reactive responses, right? So what I now do on text as well is if we are talking about our relationship and anything tricky, I will only talk about it on text if we are practicing active listening on text. And it's very laborious. It's very onerous to practice active listening on text because you're going to need to repeat everything you say on text. So if that's not working, then don't text about tricky things in your relationship. Yeah, Debbie says, I don't try texting anymore when it's an important conversation. You can so easily misunderstand communication via text. Yes, I think texting needs to be approached with a lot of caution. If you are deciding to text, I do think you need to do active listening on the text. I've gotten to the point where if we're not doing active listening on something tricky on text, I'll just graciously leave the conversation. I won't do it. Joe says, good thing about text, though, it's documented to read later. Yes, true. That is absolutely true. And something my partner and I have done is to go over some texting conversations and some Zoom conversations that we recorded and go over them. Like an athlete goes over their athletic performance and look at what happened, look where things started to break down. What can I do better? What constructive feedback can I offer my partner? It's really helpful. It is really, really helpful. So Debbie, just back to your question. Okay, first we're in a calm place, and then we must stick with active listening. So if your partner is responding in anger or filtering through their own stories, they're not actively listening to you. And if that cannot happen in that moment, then my suggestion, if it's resonant, would be for you to step back, to graciously leave the conversation and just say, I love you. I have faith we can work through this. I'd like to talk about this again when we can actively listen to each other. So you're embodying, we talked about this as a practice, you're embodying what you want in your relationship. You're not going to participate in the anger and the filtering of the stories. So we have the power just to leave the conversation. So I am so committed to this right now in my partnership. I'm only going to engage in healthy conversations. I'm only going to engage if we're actively listening around tricky topics. And Jamie says, I find texting easier. I can't think in the energy of conversation most of the time. Yeah, I think for many people that is really true. So we're also trying to work with what is comfortable for our partner. So yeah, different cultures, we have different orientations, different desires around all of this. Okay, Debbie says, thank you. That is a wonderful way of addressing that issue. Yeah. So we're talking about self-love in relationship when you are really clear internally what you are willing and not willing to participate, and basically what you require in your communication. When you make that super strong commitment to yourself, you're going to behave that way, and you're not going to participate in non-healthy communication. So each one of us has the absolute power to not engage in non-healthy communication. My heart really goes out to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Probably a lot of us have heard about their court case, their ongoing court case. And at least from the testimony that they're each giving, it seems like they were participating in so many situations of non-healthy interaction, non-healthy communication, and just kept coming back. And so it seems like we can really see what that can lead to, and just come back to the truth that none of us has to participate in any of that. We can always excuse ourselves. We can always hold the beautiful self-love for ourselves and love for the other, that I'm not going to engage in this. I'm going to excuse myself. Okay. So we went through about 4 practices within the Namaste method today. What I'd like to do is tomorrow we're going to continue. There's just so much here to talk about. And as I said in the beginning, healthy communication is really the foundation. It's really the infrastructure of your relationship. It is perhaps the most important skill to develop together. Things are going to come up. 2 different people, 2 different lives, 2 different sets of responsibilities, all of that. Things are going to come up that may cause conflict or tension or discomfort. How we talk about these things is essential. This goes back to one of the practices. The relationship is in each moment. The relationship is not just after the conflict has passed. The relationship is in the conflict moment as well. And how we move through conflicts can either provide positive investment to our relationship, or it can cause negative investment. And tomorrow I'll talk more about the amazing research of John Gottman. He is a real pioneer in the field of marriage and family therapy, of communication. And I put a couple of links about him in the very beginning of the chat here. But he basically has scientifically studied many, many couples and can actually predict the longevity of their relationship based on their communication. So it really can't be overemphasized how important communication is to relationship. So, Jamie, thank you so much for coming. Thank you all for coming. This is a very exciting topic. And I want to just say that no matter what actually happens in your current relationship, learning these skills will provide you with so many benefits in any relationship that you are in, including all of your other relationships. And these skills benefit our communication with other humans and the planet so much. So these are awesome skills to really embody. And I know for me, it's a continual practice to become more and more masterful with these skills. I would say for me, one of the hardest ones that I really want to keep embodying is stepping back. When I feel hurt, when I'm reactive, is stepping back and doing my inner work and only coming back when I am calm. And this is such a gift we give to ourselves, to the other, and to our relationship. Okay, so I hope you'll join me tomorrow, same time, same place. And I love you all so much. Thank you for all of your light. Thank you for all of the amazing comments. As usual, it was a magical time to be with you all. I love you. Bye.